Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review is from 1957, and it's El Vampiro, directed by Fernando Mendes. Obviously this is a high quality DVD copy, and this was kind of inspired by two things. Subscriber Drew, who pointed me in the direction of a DVD copy of El Vampiro, and this comes off the back of my video on the wonderful Indicator box set, Mexico Macabre, which again I would highly recommend you pick up if you're a fan of the black and white films of Mario Bava, or Jacques Tourneur, or just gothic good stuff in general, because El Vampiro is quite fantastic. Made in 1957, the same year as Hammer's Dracula, with obviously Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. As I say, directed by Fernando Mendes, who directed arguably the best one in the set, Mysterios de Ultratumba. But again, all the films in this set are quite wonderful. It stars Abel Salazar, who also produced Mysterios de Ultratumba, El Espejo de la Bruja, El Barón del Terror, and La Maldición de la Llorona. And he also stars in El Barón del Terror, Misterios de la Ultratumba, and La Maldición de la Llorona. It also stars Ariadna Welter, who stars in La Barón del Terror, and bizarrely Rage on imprint with Glenn Ford and Stella Stevens, which is right up there in my favourite rabies films. There's an amazing turn by Carmen Montejo as one of the aunts in the film. That's A-U-N-T, not A-N-T. And the Vampiro of the title is essentially the kind of Count Dracula figure. Is played by Germán Robles, who was also in El Barón del Terror. You know, these Mexican gothic horror films of the 50s and 60s, as you'll appreciate, there's a kind of studio feel, family feel, with obviously people appearing in quite a few of these films. Now that the introductions are over with, why don't I actually talk about the film? This is a beautiful film, all misty and gothic, beautifully shot, wonderful black and white cinematography. The performances are fantastic, especially Carmen Montejo is absolutely stunning. There's lots of Sergio Leone close-ups of eyes, which is wonderful, without the whip panning or zooming. So it tells the story of a young girl who is called to the old family hacienda, where one of her aunts has just died, A-U-N-T, not A-N-T. And we see this ceremony, and her uncle is there, and her other aunt, who's looking very vampish in a black outfit. I mean, it's not hard to tell who the villains are in this film, but that doesn't really matter. And she meets Abel Salazar's character, who is a travelling salesman or something of that ilk in a station, but they end up having to walk all the way to the hacienda because nobody wants to take them, but they do get a lift from somebody who's picking up a coffin or a container full of soil from Hungary, if that sounds familiar, and is taking it to German Robles because he's going to resurrect his brother who died hundreds of years ago at the hands of naughty people, and together they're going to bring more naughtiness to the country and have their revenge. Carmen Montejo is one of his devotees. I mean, there's nice transitions between the human form and the bat form. And strange enough, there's been some recent murders where people have two little holes in their neck and have been drained of their blood. But the hacienda is wonderfully atmospheric and covered in cobwebs, and the girl played by Aradna Welter, is upset about how her childhood home has been kind of run down. There's a wonderful scene where Abel Salazar's character tries to coax her back into the room that she used to have a nursery in when she was a young girl, and she sees a frightening sight in there. So it's a beautiful little film. I'm hoping at some point it does get a Blu-ray. I'm hoping there's a volume 2 of these because, like I said in my video of this box set, which I'll leave a link to in the description, that I could literally watch these all day. There's a wonderful poetry to them. There is a kind of lack of cynicism. A lot of horror films do have a bit of a cynical streak to them, but this has a poetry about it. And the great thing about this, about El Vampiro, is the fact a lot of vampire films, the kind of vampires are kind of glamorized, and it's this idea of eternal life and how wonderful that is, and you can't die apart from the 26 ways vampires can die. Whereas this has a real melancholy to it. The vampiric characters kind of see it more as a kind of curse, and they appreciate their kind of in between life and death. So it's a really kind of melancholy feel that it has. There's no celebratory feeling. I would say that German Robles doesn't particularly strike a terrifying figure as essentially the Count Dracula character, if you will. But there is a wonderful melancholy to the vampiric characters. There's some nice tricks with mirrors, obviously. It's an old trope. It has familiar tropes in it, but again, it's just done with such loving care. Again, the Mexican gothic horror, that series of films, you do get a sense of its kind of family in a small repertory company doing these films. So it does have a charm about it, but don't be fooled, because again, it has some striking imagery in it. Again, the black and white cinematography is really beautiful. The use of fog. There's a wonderful kind of entry and exit of the Count Dracula character through a shaft of light combined with mist that's truly quite beautiful when you see it. And again, hopefully this will get a proper Blu-ray release, because I think this is one of the first wave. I mean, the Indicator box set's 59 to 63, and obviously El Vampiro was 57, so I think it was one of the first ones. So it really should have been in this. They should have made it a 5 film, but obviously who knows what the prints are like, rights, blah blah blah. But if you like vampire films, or again if you like that kind of Jacques Tourneur, Mario Bava, black and white, lots of fog and lots of castles and cobwebs and shafts of light, and really terrific close-ups of eyes, then I would highly recommend El Vampiro. And again, thanks to subscriber Drew for pointing it out to me, and pointing me in the right direction of getting a copy. The print is not bad in actual fact, considering it's a DVD minus R basically. But again, this is just a reminder of how great this Indicator box set is. I would imagine this is going to sell out once people realise how good it is, because it's an absolute joy. Again, none of these films are particularly original, but again, they're done with such charm and great sense of atmosphere, and again, compositionally, they are rather tasty. So thanks very much for watching this random review of El Vampiro from 1957. Please let me know if you've seen it and what you think of it, and tell me what you think of the Mexico Macabre box if you have it and have watched it. So this is Solitude Ronin from Solitude Ronin Films, saying farewell.